A boat, a bridge, and a passage for those desiring the farther shore. Phenomena arising dependently do not exist on their own or in isolation. This understanding of selflessness helps weaken our dualistic thinking and allows us to see the pain and futility of building an ego-based barrier when interacting with others. It makes it easier to understand and accommodate others, and our relation with the environment becomes more harmonious. It is also this understanding of the interdependence and connections among all things that makes possible the very practice of bodhicitta, the vast attitude of bodhisattvas. Every time I go to a hospital, I see corridors crowded with people in pain, old and young, sobbing and silent. My heart saddens, and I wish I could do something for them. Illness makes people both vulnerable and sensitive. Any kind gesture will bring comfort to patients or their worried loved ones. My recent medical examination was arranged by a student and did not require me to wait for very long. Later, I learned that the test center I visited can only accommodate around 10 patients each day. The waiting list is long, and it takes weeks or even months to get an appointment. My heart sank when I heard this, since I caused at least one patient to wait an extra day. If that person was very ill, their illness may have gotten worse due to the delay. Maybe they came from another city and had to stay in a guest house. If they were also poor, one more day's waiting would add an extra financial burden. Instead of being helpful, I made that person's life more difficult. We often talk about our aspiration to benefit all sentient beings. Yet the words sentient beings can just be empty rhetoric. Afraid of missing the big picture by paying too much attention to individuals, we are often negligent and indifferent to relatives, friends, and people around us who may be suffering greatly. We can easily forget that the term sentient beings is not just a collective noun. It actually represents people and animals we meet every day, who, despite all their differences, are alive to pain and happiness just like we are. It is true that we Mahayana Buddhists keep in mind the welfare of all sentient beings that are as vast as space. But it is equally important not to ignore the individuals who come to us for help. Their happiness, temporal or lasting, present or future, should always matter to us. Suffering and its relation to enlightenment is a major subject in Buddhist literature, and many practitioners of the past chose to lead an ascetic life accordingly. However, it does not mean that Buddhists regard suffering as good and desirable. Obviously, all sentient beings want happiness, which I believe is the most fundamental drive of life. To remind ourselves regularly of this common pursuit will help us develop empathy and generate bodhicitta. The great vows of Samantabhadra, the bodhisattva associated with enlightenment actions, says, "May all sentient beings in the 10 directions be happy and free from afflictions, benefit from profound and truthful Dharma, and achieve true and complete cessation of suffering." This verse captures well the essence of bodhicitta in aspiration. First, we wish all sentient beings to be happy and free of suffering. And secondly, we wish that all sentient beings follow the path of liberation to attain complete enlightenment. Whereas we may be ready to renounce worldly concerns for ultimate liberation, people around us may not be. Instead, they want to remove immediate pains and feel happy in the present. So it's important for us to respect the differences regarding how happiness is defined and achieved, and do our best to help people regardless of their beliefs. This, in fact, is part of bodhicitta. For a practitioner, being ill is an effective way to develop empathy towards others' pain and their yearning for health and happiness. When we are healthy, we are slow to appreciate the advantages and preciousness of our abilities to hear, sense, smell, taste, and see what surrounds us, and to cry, laugh, run, jump, eat, and sleep whenever we want. And the colour of the universe, the twitter of birds, the scent of flowers, the coolness of a breeze, the flavours of various kinds, all seem so utterly common. But when we get sick, our awareness of them begins to transform. No wonder the gods and goddesses of the divine realms who do not experience suffering are less able to gain liberation. Their lives are so comfortable that they do not have the desire to pursue enlightenment. Only when they are about to die do they see the pain that is approaching, but by then it is too late. Unlike them, our human life is a combination of good and bad, and we intuitively have a strong desire to avoid suffering and look for happiness. With the right guidance, we may further realize that none of the worldly things, such as fame, wealth, health, and longevity, will last. They will eventually all turn into suffering, the pervasive nature of samsara. The only way to eliminate suffering completely is to escape samsara by attaining ultimate liberation.